I'm questioning you on why you believe the Bible. And you're coming back with, well, if you believe the Bible, then it's true. And I'm still asking you, why would you believe the Bible's true? Where is the independent verification of the accounts that are in that book to demonstrate the truth of the claims?
I believe it's true based upon, of course, I believe God is real based on faith. No argument there.
Okay,
I believe
then,
the Bible
of what
real
it
based
says in
off
the
of
Bible.
source of
Then why?
documentation,
Then why?
The papyrus, the amounts of documentation of all these different books.
Jason,
like in a court case.
Jason,
Go
then
ahead.
if your belief is based on faith, then why are we having a conversation? Because
Well, let me finish
the question. The reason I ask why we should bother having a conversation is because clearly you think that it's okay to just believe something on faith, and I do not. And I don't have the experience that you've had, and evidently you're admitting that you cannot demonstrate the truth and reality of your God to anyone else, which is kind of the point of having these conversations. I freely admit, and have admitted from the beginning, there are people out there who believe on faith. They can't prove it to anybody else, and I can't prove that their faith is wrong, and so those conversations are pointless, because those people are, by definition, gullible.
Well, for example, evolution is a proven theory, nothing more. It takes faith to believe that it is.
Do you know what theory means?
100% accurate.
Go ahead.
Do you know what theory means?
What does it mean?
Theory is basically, I mean, have you heard of the theory of gravity, for instance, or the germ theory of
gravity
diseases?
is not a theory. That's
Yes,
it is.
Okay.
That's a law. What goes up comes down. That's
Jason.
a fixed law. There's no debate. There's no argument about that.
No. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. A theory is a framework of explaining a set of observed facts. You have, the law of gravity is not a graduation of the theory of gravity. There's a theory of gravity which is conceptually stating that different things are drawn to each other. And the law of gravity is just a description that comes from the theory of gravity. There's no higher term in science than a theory. A theory is a framework which has been tested and understood to explain observed reality. When you say it's just a theory, you might as well say that, we're living in just reality.
Well, there's many theories is what I'm saying. But you guys have came to accept that evolution is the first sure
There are
theory.
many theories, like germ theory of disease.
How would you explain existence? And then I would have a question that would, and then I would love to
How
just
would
hear
you
the feedback.
explain God?
Well, no, hang on.
What I'm saying is I believe God is the cause.
And
then
what's
we're
the cause
effect.
of that?
There is not one. God is the cause.
So you think that you've got this term, which is the end of all explanation, and once you get there, you just say, nope, I don't have to explain anything, right?
There's a time where you can't explain.
Okay.
Well, for example,
how do you know that's not the
question I asked you?
Then how do you know that's not the universe?
When you get to the point where you can't explain, the answer becomes I don't know, not I know it's God.
Well, no, it's belief. I mean, I believe.
I don't give a rat's ass about belief. I care about reality and what can be demonstrated to be true. I mean, you do not understand science in the slightest because, as Russell tried to explain, theory is the pinnacle. It is the height of science. It is the goal of all hypotheses to, if they could think, become an established theory. This is not just something that somebody pulled out of their ass. There are not competing theories with regard to the diversity of life. There is the theory of evolution, which is the established scientific theory, and then there are all these other things out here like creationism. That's not a theory.
That's because you don't debate that.
Creationism is not a theory.
In other words, for example,
creationism is just stuff that's made up.
Hang on.
For example,
I'll let you do your, Jason, I'll let you do your example. Do you understand that creationism is not a theory?
What is it then?
It is a hypothesis at best. A theory is something that has been tested and confirmed. It is like it got its damn diploma. Christianity is like I'm getting ready to go to preschool, and I left my lunch at home.
So, okay, let me ask you. The building you live in now, which by the way, you haven't answered the question of how existence began, but I guess the
Neither
answer
have
you don't know.
I'm happy to say that I don't know how things began to exist, and I'm not going to pretend that I do like you are. Now, ask your question about the building.
Okay, the building you're in right now, do you know who built it?
No.
Okay, so just because you don't know the builder doesn't mean there isn't one.
Oh, you know what?
By seeing the building alone,
Jason,
you can establish there was a builder.
Jason, I'll concede that there was a builder here. You know what more? Let's say builder, because there's probably a lot of people, based on all the information that we have from looking around at other buildings, probably a lot of people built this. But it's possible that there was a single designer and architect, but you know what I can do? I can go down to City Hall and I can find out the plans that were filed there and actually find out who did this. And if I can't, I'm still not justified in assuming that this building didn't have an architect.
Well, you would be unjustified to assume that a bunch of concrete laying on the floor evolved into a building.
Exactly.
That would be
exactly.
retarded.
Exactly. It would be absolutely just as stupid as proposing that a magical being put it all together. But let me explain to you the difference between your building and creation, as you were going to get to in a moment. A building needs a builder, creation needs a creator. Well, guess what? It's not creation, it's reality. A building, all of the evidence and every single example of what we identify as a building is known to be built by someone, is known to have been designed. We do not contrast designed things and undesigned things by their complexity or by their apparent function. We contrast design with nature. This building does not naturally occur. There is no reason to think that this could naturally occur, and all evidence points to everything that even appears to be like this being designed intentionally by a mind. That is not the case when you get to living beings, which are natural and reproduce and follow natural laws and chemical laws that are self-replicating. It is also not the case with the broader universe, because first of all, you don't have another universe to compare it to, so you can't contrast it with anything. But all of the evidence points to the conclusion that we need to look for natural explanations, because first of all, we can't test the supernatural explanations. Second of all, they do not provide any explanatory power. It is trying to solve a mystery with a mystery.
So let me ask you this. Let's just take, from my understanding of the theory of evolution, it started from little to nothing, whether it be a hydrogen atom, an oxygen atom.
I need a third hand to facepalm right now.
What is the theory explanation for existence?
You're asking for what is the solution to the question of abiogenesis, and the answer is we don't have that solution yet. But we have people who are working on it and who have demonstrated that at least in theory it is possible for living matter to arise from non-living matter under the right circumstances. I'd recommend that you go to Wikipedia to start with and look up abiogenesis, which is distinct from evolution. Evolution deals with what happens after life is there. It's undeniable the two are tied together. I'm not making that claim.
Okay, so billions, trillions, quadrillions of years go by. We're at the pinnacle of mankind, and we find out we still don't know what's going on here.
Yeah,
so
and doesn't that suck that we don't know everything yet? Why does that give us the right to make shit up?
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. But why would we just say there is no God based upon our ignorance, or saying that?
Did I say that?
Why?
Russell?
I didn't say that.
Did either of us say that?
Right. But
well,
you're saying for
atheist,
sure
you say there's no God, right?
No, as an atheist, I say I don't believe that your God exists. Can you prove it?
Oh.
Oh. It only took us 40 minutes to get there.
But
well, at least it didn't take us millions of years.
Yeah, and you know what? You still don't know.
No, I know there's a God.
How do you know?
No
How do you know? I mean, that seems to be. Are you sure you're not being a bit hyperbolic with your language there? What do you mean you know there's a God? How do you know?
I know for sure, from personal experience, there's a God.
So are you saying that you're infallible?
No. Hang on,
All right.
stop. I asked how you know, and you replied with, I know. Bam. I want to know how you know.
Well, of course there's faith, but that ain't acceptable. Listen, I know we need the three hands on your head. That's truth, right?
You cannot know anything by faith by definition.
What I'm saying is that
that's like saying I know because I felt it in my balls.
Well, listen. listen, and there's things you may know by feeling in your balls that have happened, whatever it may be. But what I'm saying is that, yeah, based upon feelings and experiences that you have, you could identify whether you want to say God, whether you want to say creator, whether you want to say phenomenon, whatever the label you want to put on it. When there's been an experience in my life that it could not scientifically, could not be explained. For example,
so in other words, whenever something happens to you that you don't understand, you just say, well, must have been magic.
I mean, you just asserted that science, not only, you said science cannot explain. How the hell did you decide that?
With me using the Bible as my foundation.
Which you still haven't established why you would, why you would know that it's true.
Okay, but let's just say I believe it's true, whether it is or not.
I know you believe it's true, but Matt asked how you know it's true.
So, okay, that's what I'm going to get to.
Well, no, because the last thing, which is important, is that you just said you had experiences that science cannot explain, and therefore you attribute them to God. That is, by definition, the argument from ignorance fallacy. It is the premier example of the argument from ignorance fallacy. I don't have a scientific explanation, so I'm going to go with a supernatural explanation. That is utterly illogical and irrational.
Okay, but we don't have an explanation for existence.
Correct. So don't pretend like we do.
Well, okay, right. I'm just saying what I believe and display what you believe. But you asked, what is my experience? That's what you asked. My experience is...
Yeah, at some point, I'm sure, in this year-long call.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we got 2 hours. We're only an hour in.
My experience is... welcome to the atheist experience, right? My experience is... come in the book of Acts, when they were filled with the Holy Ghost, they spoke in another language that they never spoke.
So
that has happened to me, and my personal belief. Not just me, but many people I know. In fact, many people I have led to receive the Holy Ghost with speaking in another language that they never have.
Honey, call Jerry DeWitt and have him call into the show right now if he has time, please. I'm getting ready to get a Pentecostal minister on here who did speak in tongues and can still do it on command. He would be happy to talk to you, I'm sure, about your experience.
God.
What? Of course, he's an atheist. He woke up.
Wow.
He woke up.
Wow. Well, what do you wake up to? I mean,
reality. You wake up to reality. You begin to care about whether or not things are true. You begin to accept that sometimes the answer is I don't know. You begin to understand that just because you haven't found an explanation doesn't mean there isn't one. And just because science doesn't currently have an explanation that satisfies you, that you are not arrogantly endowed with this right to know everything because you view yourself as the pinnacle of human evolution at this point. And you realize that the best thing to do is to stop pretending like you know the answer, or stop assuming that you know the answer, and say, maybe my answer's right, maybe it's not. Let's investigate. How do we go about determining whether or not this actually is some kind of supernatural cause? And how does this tie in with other things that we know about the brain and human interactions and things? Maybe if I investigate, I might be able to demonstrate that my stuff's actually true. But instead, I will just lazily accept that, well, science hasn't answered it yet, so this God thing must be the way to go.
And the thing about speaking in tongues is that it's not actually gaining some kind of special knowledge or insight. I mean, it's not even in actual language.
Yeah.
It's an acquired talent for spitting out syllables that come into your head. And when people have tried to test whether it's an actual language that has any meaning, people use the same syllables to mean completely different things. It is actually gibberish.
It just depends. I mean, in the book of Acts, when they spoke in tongues, other people of different languages.
Jason, I swear to your God, if you mention the Acts or the Bible again without justifying it, I will hang up on your ass.
Acts.
Gotta follow through on these.
Sorry. Sometimes you hit a wall.